Did you know that your menstrual cycle is one of the most important ways your body regulates minerals in your system? Energy, hormones, metabolism, even mental clarity are all tied to mineral balance. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is when women don't have a cycle. And I posted a picture earlier saying that I would go live to talk about this and how donating blood can be really beneficial here. And if we think about it, many of the women who come to me have really heavy periods. Some of them have had it for a really long time. I remember when I was in my teens going to my doctor, I was tired and had really heavy flow, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And my doctor did blood work and said, your iron levels are low. And the problem that happens here is that the doctors aren't testing energy or iron levels in your tissue, they're just testing iron levels in your blood. And so, if iron levels are showing up low in your tissue, we'll often give someone an iron supplement to take. And what that typically causes is constipation. So it throws off other things in your body, but it's not going to help with regulating heavy cycles. And the blame here is that the reason that your iron levels are lower is because you're bleeding so heavily every month. But it's kind of the opposite. You're bleeding so heavily every month because your body is trying to regulate minerals and get them moving in your system. And so when you get blood work done, I remember going to my doctor, my iron was a 4, and he was like, "Oh, it should be like a 20. I don't know how you take your head off the pillow every single morning." And it's like if your blood levels are low, that's typically a sign that it's stuck in your tissues. And so I'm trying not to get super technical with this here, but I just want you to understand that when blood work comes back and says your iron levels are low, often what we need to do here is get iron moving in your body, because iron is like the vehicle that transports oxygen to areas of your body, which can lead to things like brain fog, fatigue, hormone imbalance, all kinds of different things when it's not able to move properly. And so, the medical perspective, they look at this when women do have really heavy periods. We look at you and say, "Oh, do you have low iron? Okay, let's pump you full of iron pills." But this doesn't solve the heavy periods problem to begin with. This was me in the past. And in hindsight, I wish I would have had this information when I was younger, because I've made some choices that weren't necessarily what I would make now just because I didn't know better. And so this is not all at all about blame or about feeling bad for decisions that you've made. I'm just hoping to help women kind of empower themselves when it comes to decisions that you make in the future. And so the decision that I made, I went to my doctor. I made a couple decisions actually. I went to my doctor, really heavy periods, and they said, "Let's put you on the birth control pill to try and regulate your cycle." And this is a common situation that I hear from clients as well. Throwing hormones at a hormone problem is not a good way to fix the problem. We need to figure out what is going on in your body. And so the heavy period may actually have very little to do with the hormones. We need to go deeper than that. So, okay, your hormones are off. Why? If we're not digging deeper and finding out, is there something mineral related going on here? Is there stuck iron in the system? Is the body trying to get the iron out of your tissues so that it can actually use it? And the common problem here is that iron's counterpart is copper. And because today our food system and what we consume on a daily basis is not supplying the beneficial copper that our body needs to be able to regulate minerals and iron in the system, this is where we get into really big issues. Another really big factor here when it comes to moving iron and copper balance in the body is that glyphosate, which is Roundup, which is sprayed on every non-organic vegetable, grain, pretty much anything you eat. And the problem is that organic stuff is still going to have levels of glyphosate, as well as it's not directly sprayed on it, but there's still harmful toxins on there. And the problem with glyphosate is that it'll actually bind the copper so that your body can't use it. So now we have even more of an imbalance here. And then medicine looks at this as, okay, so we do birth control pill to try and regulate hormones. Yeah, but hormones aren't the initial problem. So we need to figure out what the initial problem is first and deal with that. The second recommendation often is, let's put you on an IUD. And the third one is, let's do a hysterectomy. Let's remove the source of the problem. Any of these can help with the heavy periods, but the heavy periods aren't the original issue. And this is where something like root cause testing, the kind of frequency testing that I do, is helpful to figure out what's actually going on in your body that's leading to the symptoms that medicine's just putting band-aids on. The birth control pill, tons of side effects when it comes to that. I had very dangerous side effects when I was on that as well. An copper IUD, if you're a woman who has never had children, it can be very painful to put in. It's something that has to be put in more than once in your life. And there's also women will still have periods alongside this. Some women still have really heavy periods alongside this because, again, it's not solving the cause of what's going on in your body. And then a hysterectomy, unfortunately, that's the decision I made in the past. I had such a horrible time with my periods, and it was the decision of I thought it was helping my body because I felt like I was bleeding to death every single month. And looking back, it's like I would have probably made a different decision now because now I understand that if there's missing pieces from your car, you wouldn't go and just like take out the brake cables. It's no big deal. The car will still be fine. It'll still function fine. Our bodies, when we're missing pieces, getting optimal health, there is going to be challenges around that. And so, if the doctor had said to me, or if I had gone to a practitioner ahead of time and found out that there was a mineral imbalance in my system, this is something that could have been dealt with differently. And I'd be in a different place now. And so this is why I share this with you about heavy periods because it's a common, very common thing that I see with women, especially as we're going into perimenopause, leading up to menopause. And what happens? So, what happens when you have no period? This is one of the reasons that women live longer than men, is because we do have the ability to move minerals in our system through our monthly cycle. Your body is incredibly smart and it's always trying to do things to keep you safe. And so a heavy period, as much as it's a terrible inconvenience at times, and it can be embarrassing and it sucks and it's fatiguing, it's trying to tell you that there's something that needs your support. And that's my aim in life, is to help people understand that every symptom that you're dealing with is not a mistake. Your body is not confused. It's not just being a jerk. It's trying to protect you. It's doing these things to try and help you in some way. And so if we can figure that out, figure out what support your body needs to function optimally so that it can do what it's trying to do without causing such a headache for you, and also to make sure that it actually achieves the job, it can make a big difference. So when it comes to the whole really heavy periods, what we have to look at here, like I said, there's other minerals that are really important. So copper, I put a lot of clients on a copper supplement, and then it will have a benefit in this sense because the body's not trying to continue to move the iron, because copper is what helps it get moving. We also look at things like zinc. I know a lot of people took a lot of zinc through 2020, and it's no fault of our own. It was something that was recommended and suggested. I mean, in the past, I used to tell people you should be taking zinc, you should be taking vitamin C. And now I have a different understanding of sourcing is really important. When it comes to vitamin C, we need to make sure that it's the right form of vitamin C, because something like ascorbic acid, which is typically the types of vitamin C you will see at Costco and all the other places that sell like the chewable vitamin Cs, all the different um, lower budget kind of options of vitamin C, they're typically an ascorbic acid product. And ascorbic acid can also impact the body's ability to regulate the copper iron balance. And so this can make periods heavier and can make things worse. And so there is an immune system side of things with vitamin C, but we want to look for whole food vitamin C. We can't do things, nature does things perfectly. And so if we look at food, everything is put together synergistically so that your body can use it properly. And when we try and kind of strip out a piece of it, like, oh, the vitamin C is the important part in an orange. Well, no, there's other components as well. You need the enzymes to be able to break these things down. And so if you're a woman who's dealing with really heavy periods, I can help you with this. This is something that I do root cause testing to figure out what's going on in your body. Do we need to introduce some other minerals into your system? So, would something like copper be beneficial? What's your magnesium status at? Are you getting enough magnesium? Because minerals work well together, and it's all about finding the right balance for your body so that it can function the way that it's supposed to. So, The menstrual cycle, like, it's really a natural detoxifier. Every month, your body sheds iron through menstruation, which is essential for keeping minerals like copper and zinc in balance. And part of the problem when your body's having these really heavy menstrual flows is it's trying to like really push things out to get things moving because iron's not moving well. Well, then you are going to lose those other minerals as well. So we want to get things to a point where your menstrual cycle is not the giant pain in the butt that it's been. It doesn't keep you from going to work multiple days out of the month. It doesn't change your moods so that you're psycho the couple days leading up to it. Been there. It doesn't have as much of an impact on you, and it's just doing the detox that it's supposed to be doing every month. And so, copper balance, iron balance, all very important. And too much stored iron can lead to the copper dysregulation, as I mentioned, which can also impact things like thyroid function and energy and immune and so many different things in our body. So, if you don't have a natural normal menstrual cycle, which I don't now, because as I mentioned, I did get to the point where my doctor said, "Let's do a hysterectomy," and I was done. I was fed up. I was tired of, like, half of the month being exhausted and going through, feminine products like they were like toilet paper. It was ridiculous. And so I did go that route. And so now I have to look for other ways to allow my body and to help my body with mineral balance because it's not able to do it on its own. So I would love to be the person that helps as many women as possible get things back into balance so their body's able to do what it's trying to do naturally so you don't get to the point where you're either put on the birth control pill, given a copper IUD or an IUD, or end up to the point where you do have to go that hysterectomy route. It's not about making the wrong choice. It's not there's no guilt, there's no shame around any of these decisions. It's just trying to make a more informed decision. And so that's what I hope to help women understand. So, if you are someone who's dealing with really heavy periods, I will talk a little bit later as well about okay, so what happens when you get to menopause and you no longer have a period and the body's still trying to regulate minerals? This is where who's dealing with hot flashes like crazy? So, if your body can no longer menstruate out minerals, what's another detox pathway? Sweat. It's not as effective, but the body is trying to create balance and homeostasis, and so it's using everything it can. So these are all signs for you that there's something going on in your system that needs your support. And if you're looking for help with this, if you've been trying to find solutions, nothing's working for you, send me a DM. Let's set up a free screening. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you to figure out what's going on in your body, give you a little bit more of an understanding of your body, of what your symptoms mean, what your body is trying to tell you, and what we can do to help support it so that it can come back into balance. And so you don't have to just live through this anymore. So I'm Kate from Aligned Natural Health, and I'm here to help women as much as possible improve their quality of life and figure out what are the messages their body is trying to send and what they can do to improve their quality of life and just feel better overall. So, if you would like some support, if you have questions, click the link in my bio. I'll drop it in the chat for Facebook or in the comments for Facebook and book a free screening with me. You've got nothing to lose and so much to gain when you learn more about your body. So hopefully this was useful for you. And I will